welcome to this episode of Max Q. We are very excited to have a very special guest today, Jenny Moshea, with us to talk all things tech. She is a fractional CIO, but has quite the storied history and experience and all kinds of wisdom to share. She's worked with Fortune 500s and startups, and I'm going to let Ann introduce her, though, because they have been good friends for many years. And as always, I have my fabulous co-host, Ann Bly, and we are excited to do this episode with you today. So, Ann, take it away.
We are very excited. Jenny Moshea, I call her CIO extraordinaire. She builds collaborative teams and lets them grow and shine. I've seen her do it many, many times, and it is so wonderful. I'm very excited to have you here today. And I have the first what if question. So what if a founder is feeling like they're lacking in clarity for their technology direction?
Well, thank you first, both of you, Ann and Molly. What a treat to be here. I think, that's one of my favorite questions because I think if, that's often why I work with founders and startups is that clarity, it gets a little fuzzy. They have their vision, but if they don't have clarity, I think it's worth a pause, even briefly, to reset and help the team get reoriented because they might have started with one idea and then it spun into several ideas. And while the team can spin around, it becomes inefficient quite quickly and people start to lose that focus. And so I think to regain their edge, it's worth a brief pause. And I've done this recently with a startup as well. And so it's valuable for them to figure out what the work streams are and consolidate.
And how do you help them do that?
So a lot of listening, a lot of just hearing from various team members and understanding where they're headed and where the founder's vision is, and also what their customers are saying if they have customers yet, or potential customers that might be in pilot. Listening to what their questions are during the sales cycle or the pitch cycle. Also with investors, listening to the questions there for their particular team and where the team is taking the technology or the solution. And so understanding all the picture and all the stakeholders and understanding where the engagement levers are helps me help work with the founders to better articulate and lay out what the work streams might be. And so usually that feeds into a bigger picture roadmap of where they're headed, at least initially. And maybe it's chunking it in phases, or at least creating themes or energy around those work streams so that the team can rally behind that and have focus.
How'd you learn to do all of this? I guess I should have started with that and your experience. And, I dove right into that question of this and then
right to business today.
No, just straight to business.
I was not.
How do you have experience with all of this? Yeah. So explain why you know how to do this.
Thanks. So I actually came from the business side of technology. I was a business analyst, so I was the translator. So I was often translating what the requirements were from the business and translating that for the tech team to actually use and create something valuable with. And my career grew in the area of program and project management, and I managed large scale initiatives and implementations for companies like Starbucks and Boeing and Jeppesen and other great companies in the across the region. And so I learned to listen. I was a technology consultant for most of my career before I was a CIO. And so I learned to listen and understand and craft what people needed, the clients, the customers, and the end users primarily. So to me, tech should be centered on that end user experience. And so learning that over the years and from great mentors. And so I also just, learned and celebrated with teams. I was able to form great teams of people and really understand what they needed to thrive. And as a result, have been fortunate to receive many accolades over my career.
Yes, you have. If you want to see them, go look at her LinkedIn page. You'll see them. They're amazing. So Molly, why don't you take the next one?
I mean, I think, well, for myself and maybe a lot of folks in the community are wondering, okay, CIO, that's spendy. That's a big title. What happens if I just wanted a little bit? We've heard fractional, everybody's fractional, it feels like at this point, right? How do I know if that's the right fit for me, if that's something that I even need? What does that look like?
I think really smart companies are starting to get on board with the idea that they want the years of experience of a seasoned technology professional such as myself, but they don't have the ability to pay for the annual salary and the
Right.
commitment. And so it's a great model I found with this interim technology leadership to come on board in any capacity. You can call me whatever you call me, whatever title suits you and your investor needs or your board. I've been a fractional CTO, fractional CIO, VP of tech. It just depends on the company. But to shape your team and round out your team with experience, a part-time interim technology leader such as myself can really help boost things quite expeditiously. And I think that's a super accelerated way to jump ahead of startups that stay on their own, trying to do it within the context of the knowledge they have as a collective team, and bring out some external expertise to infuse that energy and that team dynamic.
Can you give us a story or an example of where, not like kind of like an interview, right? It's like, tell me a story, or like, what vegetable would you be if you could be a vegetable? But no, like, could you tell us a story of like where you came into a startup situation, right? And maybe helped actually affect change? Because I think that might be helpful for some of the startups listening in today. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm facing that problem right now. How would I go about solving it?
Yeah, well, one thing, it's just I can come in at different angles. So I've been on the customer success side. I've been on the written training side and implementing technology over the years. And also selling into companies with technology and services as a consultant. And so recently, a new company in stealth mode, they're still in stealth mode, reached out to me to help with their messaging and their go-to-market positioning and some product input, because I also had expertise in the industry. And so I actually, as a chief information officer in my past, I've been the customer for a lot of this tech. And so I know what it takes to get into a company of a certain size. I know what paperwork you need to have, how you need to think about your agreements and your terms and your pricing. And so I've been helping this startup with their pricing model and their go-to-market messaging. And so what's interesting is they had marketing brochureware type information, and I took it and it seemed fuzzy to me, and it didn't really convey their awesome passion of what they did. And so I rewrote their marketing blurb, and they started using that and getting customer pilots going.
Cool.
Very cool.
Wow.
Awesome. Okay. So that doesn't strike me as technical at all, which is so funny, right? So it's like it kind of runs the gamut of different things. I just have one more. Oh,
real quick. I mean, they were so excited. They're like emailing me or slacking me. Jenny, the blurb's working. The blurb's working.
The blurb. That's the product. It's the blurb. I love that. That's awesome. It's a new thing. Blurb.io. I love it. That's awesome. Well, I do have one more question just to kind of bring some, more education to the group and the community. What are some common startup technology or, chief information officer type problems you see startups facing? And maybe just a couple tips and tricks on how you might go about solving those?
Yeah, I think a lot of startups I see spin up on Slack or spin up in their community and their Jira boards. They've got their boards, they've got their task lists, and they've got their things they're doing, the nuts and bolts. And I think what a lot of folks struggle with in that early stage of a company is bringing it together and thinking a little bit longer term than next week or next month. And it doesn't have to be indefinite 3 to 5 year roadmaps like sophisticated enterprises use, but even a 3-month runway gives the team something to chew on for a little bit longer. And I love creating roadmaps that are energizing, that the entire team can see themselves as part of. So whether or not there are themes or, color coding or team green, team purple, you name it, but there are layers to a roadmap that help the team feel like they know where they're headed. And they can change. They have to be flexible and be able to stretch and pull with the team and the evolution of the product.
Okay. Oh, that's well said. I'm gonna let Anne ask the famous last question at this point.
And the famous last question is, what book are you reading?
Oh, that's so funny you asked. I love the Playing Big. I have it right here in front of me. I have 5 books going right now, but this is one of them. One is The Psychology of Money. What else do I have? Oh, the 6 gears. Anyway, this is one of my favorites right now is Playing Big. So, practical wisdom for women who want to speak up, create, and lead. And it's a great refresher for those of us that have been in industries that are, maybe male dominated, but I work with lots of males. I love males. I'm raising males. So, but it's a good way of everyone to kind of reframe and re-energize their meeting their future self and where you want to go in life.
I love that.
Cool.
That's a perfect
Great.
ending. That was good. So we
Perfect.
can wrap it up. So if you want more information, Jenny's a part of the community. She's here to answer questions. If you have any, roadmap or tech questions, feel free to post them in MaxQ and she can respond. And obviously, we're so thankful to have you here today. Jenny, thanks for joining. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Thanks,
Thank
Jenny.
you so much.